I'm Carol from Sunbury, Ohio.
I'm a Republican, but I don't care who does the job as long as the job gets done. That's why I like Sherrod Brown. He stood up to both parties on China and worked with Republicans to fight fentanyl because Sherrod fights for Ohio. That's leadership.
Paid for by friends of Sherrod Brown.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
There's no better feeling than a personal win, and the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you do just that. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can bundle and save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest Anfield Index Under Pressure podcast. My name's Dan Kennett, and with me to discuss a fantastic game at Arsenal yesterday, and also a big win at Leipzig in the Champions League. I got the full team again. But the bad news is we are 1 hour further away from tropical island paradises in the Indian Ocean, Mr. Dr. Barts. So we are on the clock. We may lose you at some point because it's very late.
Bit late, but yeah, we'll give it a go. We're
going to go, but you've just heard him. And we've also got Sai. Evening, Sai.
Evening, boys. Some serious dedication going on there from Bart.
Absolutely. He's crunching out a stats pack as we speak. Enhancements. You might even do a possession control if you ever tell him the formula to get in what to go in the.
I told the formula. It's really not that complex. I'll put it in the chat there.
Okay,
there you go.
And we've also got the boy wonder, Hamzah Lunat from the Times. Evening, Hamzah.
Evening. Let's try and get through this quickly. Give Bart's plenty of sleep.
Yeah. Where were you yesterday, Hamzah? Or where were you on the weekend?
I was at Stamford Bridge, so I didn't get to. Well, I was watching the match live, but sort of in bits during the press conference. But I managed to watch back key bits today.
Yes. Anyway, we are here to start with a Bart. I'm going to say a big win at Leipzig in the Champions League. All of a sudden, hard group draw overall, like strength of schedule and all that. 3 wins out of 3.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're all still working out quite what this means, if we're being honest. Because 9 wins, 9 points out of 9 sounds good right now, but we don't know how that's all done out. But yeah, certainly with the 2 aways and a home, that's quite. I would say that's quite a good going. But
this was our hardest away game, right, in the schedule, wasn't it?
Yeah, because we've got. Is it Madrid at home? Is that right?
Yeah, this was our pot 1 away game.
Yeah, and the Leverkusen is at home.
Yeah, pot two at home. Yeah.
So, and these are listening to the Hamzah's other moonlighting pod he does. Leipzig are doing pretty well in the Bundesliga, nearly joint top. So again, on form, this was a very good win for us to grab actually away from home.
So what we should do is we can't, just because it was a good few days ago now, 5 days ago. Do we just go over the highlights of that beautiful stats pack, Barts, for this game?
Yeah, of course. Top line, because we weren't going to go into too much detail on this one. We dominated, well, not dominated. Sorry, went to Arteta language there. Sorry about that. 55 to 45% possession. So we did edge the possession. I wouldn't say dominated. Field till 57 to 43. So that's probably been not far off our normal average this season. Pretty good, but away from home, which is quite something, to be fair. Outshot them 7. Have I got this right? Yeah, 17 to 13 outshot them. On target, 7 versus 6. We had 3 6-yard box shots to their 0. Inside the penalty box, we had 9 to their 6. Big chances, 4 versus 2. XG, I've got 2.44 again for us, and then 0.77 for them. APV 2.12 for us and 1.93 for them. So we converted at 115. They converted at a measly 40%, and that's being kind by rounding up. Pass success 87 versus 84. And just to give a little work out what the probabilities were if we played the game 1,000 times again, we were the 1-0 was the joint most, along with 1-0 wasn't. It was actually 2-0 or 2-1 were the most likely results. Probably, if you on balance, if you look at some of the chances that we missed whilst on top, it's probably fair. And we were a whopping 80% chance. Should have won the game in 80% times, but played again away from home. It is quite something to look at.
Yes, quite something. Sai, do you remember this game?
Yeah, it was a little underwhelming. Nothing greatly happened in this, apart from we caught them a couple of offside goals. I think our offside trap is actually more efficient this season than the year the world was banging on about our high line. We're constantly catching goals offside.
5 offsides this game, 3 goals.
Yeah, and they all looked offside. It looked like it was something that we would deliberately try it. It seems that the repeat of now, Ibu's played 11 full games with Virgil this season out of 12 games, basically. And that there's some kind of synchronicity and coordination going on between them. And when Robbo doesn't drop off, we have a really nice straight line, and the timing of their step is great. And probably I wish we could have continued it in the Arsenal game.
Well, yes. But elite defence performance again. Hamzah, just one thing I want to come to you on is I call the game, but Cody Gakpo, another fantastic performance from him in the Liverpool shirt, which is something we're seeing quite a lot this morning. We're mentioning him on majority of pods this season for just genuinely good performances.
I think it also has a bit to do with rotation policy as well. Like because we've recently had an international break, it makes sense to give the South Americans a break where possible. And I think we saw after the previous international break, I think Diaz played straight away and he struggled in the first 2 matches.
Yes.
The third match he was good again. And that's entirely normal and understandable when you've had a lot of travel. As Sai's explained before, when you lose sleep, you lose HRV, all that sort of stuff. That just means that you're a little bit more sluggish and tired and not as effective on the ball, which means that being able to swap Diaz around with Gakpo for these couple of matches straight after the international break gives the team the benefit of that freshness on the left. And I think it's very fair to say now that Gakpo is definitely a winger, and he's better playing off the left than down the middle. And whilst he does have some qualities through the middle in terms of defending space, link up, that sort of stuff, the threat that he offers off the left is much better. There were signs of this, little signs, but it's good to see that he's now bringing those signs together, improving on them, and showing consistency. And that's all you can really ask for.
Yeah. But one of the things that was nice in the stats pack, talking about Cody again, is the attacking triangle on the left-hand side. And that shows up in the Arsenal game as well. And one of the things that you need in your pass networks is not just volume of connections in terms of passes, it's XT, expected threat, or EPV as you call it, to show up there.
Yeah. So I think that's one thing, as I noted the previous game against Chelsea, we'd taken a tactical decision and it worked, but it meant our left side wasn't as effective. We lost that left triangle, whereas in this game it was good to see that return. So I spoke about synchronicity, and I think there's a key synchronicity happening here because the change is left back and left winger that we're seeing in the rotation. So they're used to, Cody knows where Costas is going to go and vice versa. Whereas if you mix and match, which we might have to do later on in the season when the dreaded injuries may occur, but for the moment, those units are working. I would suggest this unit is providing a little bit more at the time. Diaz might have just dropped out of form as he was at early season, but this unit, when it comes in, knows where they're playing. You've seen that in the past, Max. They're heavy red for the lines connected around left side, and then Mo's doing his usual, drifting a little bit wider, but producing moments when he needs to, So, and you've also in the past match, you've got that strong centre back again. This game was more of a 1 and a 2, which, as we'll come on to against Arsenal, could have been like this. So a 1 and then a 4, so a 4-1-4, if you get what I mean, was more prevalent in this than in previous games. It's been a definite 2 6 in and a 1 front. So not that, it's all a bit semantical.
I think the important thing to note from the statistical side is that Gakpo is now showing up regularly.
Yeah.
Which means it's one thing he never really had before was XT, expected throughout our EPV, and if you look at all players in our team ranked, I know it's still only lowish numbers of minutes played, like 500, 600 minutes, but he is joined top with Trent, which is never something I thought I'd say.
Yeah, 100%. When you look at the heat map for the whole game, something which we don't normally see because of the connection between Trent and Mo on the right side, you don't normally see a balance in your EPP production, but actually in the game we saw the left 4 boxes, should we say, in the opposition half, pretty much the same percentage of our total EPV as the right. So that shows you a bit more balance in our attack in terms of what we're doing. So I think that's only a good sign for us going forward.
Yeah. So last one to you on Leipzig. This match's moment of genius from Mo Salah was an amazing headed assist.
It was an unbelievable headed assist. It was going in. It would have been.
Would you say it was a shot or was it a clever pass just into a dangerous area? What did you say?
From Mo, I was 100% goal. It was a goal. It was trying to score.
He was trying to score. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It was a brilliant header, and we just don't expect that from him. But there was a long while where we didn't expect brilliant passes too. It's just as we've documented in the past that Mo's shooting distance has gotten further and further from goal as Darwin got embedded into the team. He just doesn't get. He's not close in on goal getting headers. I think he probably has an ability. I don't think it's his main talent, but sometimes you just catch it beautifully, and that was that. It was part of really really lovely build up as well. To get out wide. I think Simi has been phenomenal. I don't know why Liverpool fans don't seem to like him, but I think it tells you a lot. Every time he's on the pitch, he takes all of the corners and all of the free kicks. So the players seem to think his quality is good, and the coaching seems to think his quality is good. And it wasn't this game. He created 2 really good chances from corners. Darwin had a good chance earlier on in the game. He nice header, probably quite savable for the keeper, but he could have got in. Virgil had another from a corner that was a little down the middle a little bit. Thankfully, he saved that for a more important game. And they were biggest chances along with some lovely interplay from, I thought Szobo was really good in this game. Lovely interplay with Szobo and Mac, which ended up a 25 yarder, which he killed beautifully.
That was beautiful.
Off the bar.
Wasn't it like a 40 pass move or something ridiculous?
Honest, I missed it. I didn't see that, but it makes sense. There were quite a lot of really strong, really long, 10+ sequences.
Yeah. Did that show up in your data bots? The move which led to the Mac shot, the Mac curler, because it was a massive move.
It's on the traces I do. Yeah, it's on there.
Yeah,
you just remember the data. What was it when you got a timestamp for it? Was it before?
It was about 35 minutes or something like that, I think.
Yeah, it's in. I think that. Yeah. That's.
But it went across the field, back to front. It was all. It was a brilliant move. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, what should I say?
It was to just emphasise what Hamzah was saying about Gakpo, that he said that the most important word he's using now, which he didn't have before, is threat. He looks like a threat. The opposition see him as a threat. He has never shown threat in the middle of the park, and he was a functional member of the unit. He allowed others to, maybe facilitated others to work within the system we had last season. But this year, he looks like a legitimate threat. They're knocking the ball out to him. The fullbacks get terrified and double banking, which gives Mac more space, which gives Sidney or Robbo more space. And he looks like he's doing the things that Lucho does when he's on fire. So sign me up. I love this version of Cody, and if we can get both of those two going at the same time, you can blow the balls off a right back and then bring the other one on 30 to knock him over.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, there was one of the first half. It was the old classic, almost like Stanley Matthews style dribbling, where he basically stood the opponent up. I think it was Henriks, went stationary, knocked it past him, sprinted standing start over 5 meters and got past him and just put a really. I mean, that's something we've never seen from him, never.
No. I'd seen when we signed him. He'd been in the World Cup. Was it the World Cup or Euros? One of those. Anyway. Barely watch this stuff these days. But he'd been at one of them, and he was kind of a star. Blah blah blah. But I dragged all the data from it because it was the first competition with all of the performance data, and he had really high top speed, and no one believed it, and we just didn't see it. And I'd even started to question whether it was.
So 34 point something K, 34 and a bit.
Yeah, 36.2.
Wow.
Cody's top speed is 36.2, which is 36.5 is Darwin's. Incidentally, I posted it there on the Twitter. Did you all see my tweet about top speed?
No.
Name fastest player this season.
Trent.
Name the two fastest players this season.
It's Trent, isn't it?
Nope.
Ugh.
It feels like you can get your credit scores anywhere these days. Random websites, card statements, budgeting apps, heck, even your dog might bark out a few numbers. It's true. Credit Karma isn't the only place you can find them. But we actually do more with your scores to help you find your next financial opportunity. Like a more rewarding credit card, a game plan that helps you pay down debt faster, or a personal loan to help you save more on interest payments each month. Cha-ching! The possibilities are kinda endless. Download Intuit Credit Karma today to get started.
At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality bikes, which might lead to another discovery. Getting back in the saddle isn't always comfortable. Good news is Sierra has massage guns. And chafe wipes, too. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes, and games consoles. Visit libertyshield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
Who's it measured by?
Whoever is the official tracker of Premier League these days, I can't remember.
So it doesn't really matter. It's who ran the fastest, who had the opportunity to run over a long sort of distance.
In a season, it's always about opportunity, for sure.
Honestly, I don't know. Szoboszlai.
Nope. Virgil van Dijk. Mohamed Salah. Trent Alexander-Arnold, then Darwin.
But we have a big team. We have a big, rapid team. So you think
as well? This is not messing around. This is still 35k.
Yeah, you think this is new improved levels of from the when the way you look at players in terms of your S&C and that kind of stuff. You think Cody's improved that in that sense as well, yeah?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, I think he looks way twitchier than he did. He looked a little bit sluggish. I don't know if it was a little bit heavy. He looks like his mass has been redistributed a little bit, so he's a little bit broader on the shoulder, a little bit narrower on the waist, and leaner.
Nice. And you mentioned last thing leading to the Arsenal game, there was a few rotations in both of these matches, say.
So since the international break, we've had 3 rotations in each game.
Nice. Do you think this is going to be the new normal?
As if it's by design.
You think it's going to be the new normal?
It makes sense. So we seem to be using 4 subs as well. We never used 5, but we also look at the bench. The bench against Arsenal looked a little bit light. We're now up to 5 injuries. If we're counting players that aren't injured but aren't fit enough to play, so they physically aren't up to playing. So we count them as an injury, like Chiesa. So we're up to 5 right now, which is still significantly below last season's numbers.
I thought you said Connor was ill.
Yeah, Connor's ill, so he couldn't play.
Wow,
he hadn't been training.
So, he must have had a serious bug or something, yeah, to come back.
In all honesty, he was ill when he came back from international break. He might have picked up a niggle in training. I don't know, but he was definitely just ill when he came back from international.
Okay. All right. And so I guess the next one will be, let's see what happens for the Brighton, see what happens there, because you'd like to think, even if there's some players are just feeling their way back, you'd like to think that maybe this is the opportunity for them to get some minutes against Brighton in the Carabao. Right.
Maybe,
anyway.
I would really like to see 7 games in 21 days. I would like to see, this is the middle game. Can we use it to modify load? So we've got a bunch of lads who are currently in red because they've been accelerated a little bit too quick. And we have a bunch of lads. So we need to modify those by them not playing. We've got a bunch of lads who are a little bit low. And we need to get their chronic load up. Szobo's one of those. But we also have to bear in mind that the potential outcome of, one, winning this game, but also the season as is, we currently have 5 players on target for their career maxes this season, and we have 12 players that are considerably over their 3-year average for a season. So we need to... I will always bang on about this, obviously, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. This is the perfect game to fully rotate and put in lads that don't play. But we don't have any of them. We don't have kids anymore. There are literally none. So it's going to be first-team players in this competition because they're all...
Tyler Morton.
That's it. So you've got Endo, Tyler Morton and Kwanzaa.
Yeah. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see if any of the 5 players who were technically injured actually make the bench in this one. Obviously, Alisson won't, but let's see if the others do. Anyway, right. Hamzah, let's come on to the big game yesterday. So can you walk us through the lineups of both teams?
Yeah, of course. 1 second. So I'll start with Arsenal because they were the home team. They were forced into a few changes. Calafiori, their sort of first choice left back, was out. Saliba was suspended, so they rejigged the back line. So Ben White moved to centre-back, Thomas Partey moved to right-back, Gabriel stayed as the left centre-back, and then Jurriën Timber played as left-back, and they were in front of David Raya. Three starters there, but only sort of two playing in position in the back line. Then in midfield, they had a Merino Rice pivot, real sort of dual monsters there. And I guess that becomes a theme of this game as well. And then the sort of, it wasn't really a surprise. Saka started on the right, Trossard played as a sort of number 10, and Martinelli played on the left, and Havertz led the line. Arteta's quite funny in that he sort of pretends that certain players are injured and they're not going to play, and he does stuff like, for example, he didn't, when the cameras were around on Friday, Saka conspicuously wasn't there for training. For 15 minutes, the cameras were allowed, and then obviously afterwards when they left, he trained. So he does stuff like that just to throw opposition managers. It can be a bit much, but who cares? Liverpool team, not too many surprises here. The key one was just that Jones retained his place and Szoboszlai was on the bench. Kelleher in goal, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson. So Robertson also came in for Tsimikas. Probably what you'd expect in big matches, and this is probably one area that we might have been worried about pre-match, but again, we can get into that later. Robertson against Saka. Midfield three, Jones, Gravenberch, McAllister, and then Salah, Nunez, Diaz, front three.
Yeah. Any thoughts on Arsenal? Was it 2 injuries for Arsenal and plus a suspension? Is that all it was?
So Calafiori was out. Saka was a doubt.
Because the way he was covered, you think they were down to the bare bones or something, yeah?
I mean, to be fair, by the end of the match, they actually... Ødegaard as well. A key admission. Ødegaard's been out for a while.
Calafiori and Ødegaard with the injuries, and Saliba was a suspension,
By the end of it, they've got a fair point, but in terms of the starting 11, it's still quite a strong team.
Yeah, very strong. Right. So before we go into how the game panned out, Barts, do you want to give us that match summary, please?
Yeah. Probably not the most enjoyable summary, but we'll come on to that. Possession 46 Arsenal, 54 us. So yeah, a little bit favoured us, similar to the last game we spoke about. Field tilt, 49-51 in their favour, so pretty much 50-50. Total shots 9 each. On target 4 to their 3. 6-yard box 1 each. Penalty box shots 5 each, and outside the box 4. If you're good at maths and following. Big chances 2 each, 2 goals each. XG, I've got 0.85 to their 1.03. Sorry. And EPV, I've got 2.36 for us and 2.1 for them. Both quite low conversion, to be fair. 36% for us and 49% for them.
Yeah.
Pass completion for a game against arguably two of the best 3 sides in the country. 80% for them and 83% for us. Quite low, to be fair, compared to the standards normally seen. We could look at game state a little bit. I'm not sure that was a big story, but
I think it was, but I'll come on to that. But I do from the Arsenal perspective, for sure. I think
that's fair. That's fair. This is probably the first time this season. It is the first time this season that the probabilities have actually gone against us. So we should have lost the game 1-0, 17%, and 1-0 was 16%, but not by much. But generally speaking, 2-2, just to give you an idea, was actually 4%. So 2-1 was 9%. That would have been a more likely result than the ended one. And they were 39% to win the game. We were only 28.9. So again, first time this season that the 1,000 sims has come against us.
You take that in a away game against Arsenal. We were still 29% to win. That's a pretty good. I think
that's context is key, right? And I think that's what I'm surrounded by Arsenal fans as well. Much like Hamzah probably works with you, but I think it's probably we've gone away to a top 4 side. We haven't got beat. We haven't played well. We've come on to it. We might not have been at our best, should we say? and we've got a point. That's probably not. We probably would have taken that.
Yeah.
Forward. But yeah, no, game state, just to come back to your point about game state. So when Arsenal were leading, they only created 0.5 XG.
0.05.
0.05, sorry. And then conversely, they
had one shot. They had one shot when they were leading. Shot.
They created 0.4 threat, so they only turn that threat into XG at 12%, which is what I would not expect a top.
But conversely, we only had one shot when the game was tied out of our 9.
Yeah.
So it was the first time. And Arsenal had 8 of their 9 shots when the game was tied.
Yeah. So I think it shows a distinct. So we chatted previously about what we do at different game states. So we generally, I can't remember what the probabilities were when we did the mid-season review, wasn't it? When drawn and leading by 1, our probability of winning is
pretty 90%.
Pretty high. Yeah, over 90%. And we generate a lot of XG and a lot of threat. That's generally what we're doing in that game state. Whereas seemingly, this is one game, really small sample size, but Arsenal kind of
But is it one game?
Yeah, I mean, Hamzah's probably watched them more than any of us.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a distinct pattern, and we'll talk about, as you've noticed in a few of the vids as well, they definitely changed tactics when they went in the lead.
Yeah, I think I asked the question to you, Hamzah, a few weeks back. So, can you just go from being really, really in a run of games and then flip a switch and say, oh, I'm going to be really attacking now? Because they had their 2 freebie home games against Leicester and Sheffield. No, not Sheffield. They're not in the league.
Southampton,
yeah. And they made really heavy weather of both of those games. Only won it late on and stuff like that. It was made, I think it was 90th minute in both games. And I just don't. Are they getting stuck in a rut where they're almost like too defensive, and they've forgotten how to maybe play a more balanced game?
It's quite interesting. The only player that really gets sort of total freedom to attack is Ødegaard, and without him, they look like really sort of clueless.
The workers, they've just got a midfield of workers, right?
Yeah, that's right. They're really industrious guys, and they play to the wings anyway, so they rarely actually create through the middle. You can look at this season, last season as well, and most of their game is about going through the wide areas and creating that way, and creating sort of one-on-one opportunities for the wingers against fullbacks. Without Ødegaard, they attack in a really sort of turgid, tough to watch way, and because they're quite good at defending, it doesn't matter too much. If you go 1-0 up and you've got these big guys that can defend on set pieces, score on set pieces, and pretty much keep you outside of the area and press you quite well. From that perspective, you go, you don't really need to pile on goals. But in matches like this, you'd hope to have a bit more threat. But again, the flip side is, if they've got a lead and they can break because they have 2 really good wingers, you usually can attack on the break and get a second goal that way. That seems to be the plan that they're sort of banking on, rather than sort of dominating through possession and sort of controlling the ball in the final third. That's not quite their game, which is a bit of a surprise given sort of Arteta's background with Guardiola, but less of a surprise given his background with David Moyes and someone else who's not very good, whose name escapes me, but I wrote about in Sunday's paper.
Nice.
Alex McLeish, that was it.
Alex McLeish, my gosh, that is it.
Yes,
now he was a defensive coach.
That's their attacking orientation. It's a bit strange without Ødegaard. With Ødegaard, it's a bit better, but even then, they still don't have free flowing attacking for us the same way that Liverpool do, for example.
Yeah. Anyway, so on to the match itself, site, and talk to me about that opening period that ended up with losing the first goal. Because it wasn't a bad start, really, from us all told, was it?
Well, right up. So the first goal was 8 minutes.
Yeah.
To be fair, when they scored, it was 0-0 XG. Nothing had really happened all that much. At the moment they scored, they'd had 65 touches. We'd had 61. It was nothing, 1 touch in the box each. The ball broke in midfield, and they kind of snort the offside trap a little bit. No, it's from the free kick. What am I talking
about? Are you talking about the opening possession, or are you talking about the opening goal?
The opening goal.
Yeah,
It was Saka, wasn't it?
Yeah. Ben White, it was. Ben White played a ball, about 40-yard ball down the channel.
Yeah, unpressed. So what we were doing, we were backing off, allowing their city centre-backs the ball instead of doing the high press thing. Well, not even the high press, but usually we pinpointed somebody and we were allowing them to play the ball around the back. He just marched forward 5 meters without any pressure or anybody guiding the direction. That's the key. The key element is the guiding of direction. I think what we were doing, we were busy going man, trying to go man to man as they were pushing out on their fullbacks to stop them playing in through the midfield, creating a little box to outman our three in midfield, and they just went, see you later. They increased their long ball rate a little bit, 3%. It's not much, but it was an intent to play a long ball, and the Saka was off. And he's a monster. Saka's just a brilliant footballer. That's the bottom line. And I totally understand why we would put Robbo in there for that, given also that Simi had played midweek. And when you don't play, you can't just play 2 games a week. The thing we talked about with CJ last week. So I think one of the reasons why we got CJ this week was because he played well last week. We want to build him into the 4-man rotation in the field, and hopefully at some point add Harvey into that to offset a little bit of that. But you want his legs, because our 3 midfielders who are playing all the time ran 12.2, 12.1 and 11.8 in midweek, and their legs are hanging on. And you need a lot of legs in that, given that I think the idea behind how we're setting up was we expected Arsenal to create boxes around our midfield three. It's not how it worked out, but you'd expect them to be super demanding physically on us, dominating that to chase that space, to control that space. It would need our physicality to do that. So you had the extra running of Curtis in there. And Curtis was left a little bit with not as much to do as he was thought. He was kind of caught in between for the first 20 minutes of the game. Ball gets knocked over the head. Saka spins inside. Robbo dropped a little bit. The back line was a little bit off in the way that it had been a couple of years ago. It started when 15 goals were from Robbo dropping off. And Robbo slipped. That was the other thing.
Hey guys, it's Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here. I hope you're enjoying this podcast, and I'm sorry to call time on the show before it ends. In the current climate, it's tougher than ever before to offer podcasts for free. At Anfield Index, we produce over 75 free shows every month, which I'm confident is unparalleled in the LFC sphere. Whilst we'd love to offer everything for free, the production costs now make this impossible. That said, we don't want to follow the model of other channels and lock all of our content behind a paywall. So what we've decided to do is to continue offering every show for free, but cut that offering to 30 minutes on our longer shows. So to get all of our shows in full and enjoy the best of everything we have to offer, we really hope you'll consider supporting the channel and signing up at AnfieldIndexPro.com. For about the price of 1 cup of coffee, you'll get every podcast in full with 0 ads. You'll also get access to our LFC VIP community, where you can enjoy live podcasts, engage with our podcasters, and chat with other Reds in real time. So that website again, AnfieldIndexPro.com. Join today.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.